So we're now going to look at the early modern period, which is 1500 to 1750. And just like with the medieval period, we're going to start with crime. Now, as in the medieval period, there are lots and lots of different crimes that you could choose from, but we're just going to focus on three. If you want to do any of the other ones, do feel free, but these are the ones that I would probably suggest. So first of all, I'd start with vagrancy. And vagrancy is the crime of wandering around to find work. Now, this isn't a new crime, but it does have a significant increase in the number of vagrants in this time period. Vagrancy had emerged in the medieval period, but it increases in the early modern period. And there's a number of different reasons for that. One is population growth. And the population increases from 2.4 million in 1520 to 4.1 million in 1600. There was also an increase in food prices due to poor harvests. And this meant that lots of people were struggling to survive, so they turned to vagrancy to try and find work. Another new crime from this time period is linked to the Puritans. And there's an increase in moral crimes. They also introduced new crimes, such as no football on Sundays or dancing. The Puritans gained control in local areas in the late 1500s. When the wealthiest Puritans became JPs. But after the English Civil War, Oliver Cromwell, who was a Puritan, took control of the country. So Puritan law became more national. Another new crime in this time period was highway robbery. And highway robbery is where men on horseback would steal from passengers in carriages. And that emerges in this time period for a number of different reasons. One was due to the invention of the flintlock pistol. And this pistol could be loaded and ready to fire. Prior to that, you had to fire it, light the fuse at just the right moment. There was also an increase in travel and no banks, so people carry all their money with them. So law enforcement what you want to focus on are the things that change and the things that stay the same. So, for example, one change is the numbers of watchmen increase. And the reason for this is that towns are increasing in size. So just a reminder, watchmen patrol the streets in towns at night. And it's due to an increase in the size of towns. Continuity is that in rural communities there is still the use of the hue and cry, and that's where if you are the victim of a crime you shout for help and everyone needs to catch the criminal. Why do they continue to use this still? Still no professional police force, and most people are still living in small communities. Another change is the increase in the importance of the JPs. They take over the role of the sheriff from the medieval period. Why? They're becoming a central part of Elizabethan local government. So they actually get quite a lot of important jobs in the Elizabethan era. Punishments. Again, there are some changes and continuities here. For example, public humiliation continues. Such as whipping and branding. One of the reasons why this continues is it gives people a sense of justice, and it's quite simple and easy to carry out. A change in punishment is the introduction of bridewells. And these are places that are used to house vagrants, where people are forced to do hard labour. Why is it introduced? Well, as mentioned earlier, there is a huge increase in the number of vagrants in this time period. You also get during this time the introduction of the Bloody Code. And this is where there is an increase in the number of capital crimes. So increase in the number of capital crimes. Just going to move up into this space up here. So between 1688 and 1820, the number of capital crimes went from 50 to 200. So a lot more crimes that you can get the death penalty for. So for example, the new ones that were added were poaching and letter stealing, cattle stealing. A lot of the new capital crimes are linked to property. And one of the reasons the Bloody Code was introduced was because lawmakers were concerned about their properties and an increase in crime.